You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is extremely dangerous.
Hey, good day to you all. Welcome to the new. I'm your host, Randy&April, and my banner is not working today. That's okay. Y'all know who I am by now, I hope. So, happy Friday. Fantastic Friday. And we also have today, Red Friday. Remember everyone deployed. We like to take the time to thank our men and women who are serving our nation around the world, protecting our freedoms, our way of life, our liberties, and all that good stuff. We thank you for your sacrifices and commitments and all the good stuff that you're doing. We appreciate you and we salute you and hope for a safe and Godspeed return back home. So yesterday was the I guess you say the heavenly birthday for my brother, my late brother, passed away last year. He turned 35 yesterday, and so we kind of did like a virtual kind of celebration type of thing, and yeah, it was a pretty emotional day yesterday. It kind of was just not in the dumps per se, but I was just kind of like not in the mood to really do anything, and so just kind of just relaxed a little bit thinking about him. But other than that, there's not a whole lot, but a whole lot going on, if that makes sense to you. In the just a few minutes ago, actually, I was doing the updates on the computer, and I was like, man, I don't think I'm gonna make it on time. But I'm here. I got you. The stream did cut off a second ago, but I got you back up and running. So, got a little technology. I tell you. But Fort Worth, Texas, yesterday there was a 133 car pileup, and it was a major accident due to the road conditions. And it was it's still crappy out here today. The weather is just like gone to straight ice age out here. It looks like, it's very slippery, and it was a semi trucks and other cars. They were going on the highway, caught black ice or just caught regular ice, and slammed into each other, and it resulted in killing 6 people, a numerous number of injuries, and our thoughts and prayers go out to those family members who lost loved ones yesterday. So well, it happened on Thursday morning, but yeah. Then we have one of the members of the Supremes passed away. Mary Wilson. I get the the Supremes, the members of the Supremes confused because there's Mary Wells who passed away a few years back, and you had Diana Ross, then you got Mary Wilson. So I tend to get the two Marys jumbled up. Anyways, but yeah, so Mary Wilson, she passed away at the age of 76 from cardiovascular disease in Las Vegas. And I don't know if a lot of people probably are in this day and age, they may not be too familiar with the Supremes. Diana Ross, she's still around. She was married to Barry Gordy. She was actually married to a bunch of different people throughout the years, but most notably, I would say, is probably to Barry Gordy. Her daughter Tracy Ellis Ross, she plays on the TV show Blackish. So for those of you that trying to draw connections, that's the best I could do for you. Sorry. So, but do your research, like I always encourage. But here's a throwback for you all. For those that may not really be familiar with the Supremes.
And some people don't think wrestling's on the level. Well, now let's meet the #1 singing trio in the country today. With the song that brought them to the top of the record field, they're good-looking youngsters with long hair, and on them it looks good because they're girls. The Supremes.
Won't you stop? Baby, baby, I'm aware of where you go. Each time you leave my door, I watch you walk down the street, knowing your other love is me. This time before you run to her, leaving me alone and hurt. Haven't I been good to you? After I've been sweet to you. Stop in the name of love before you break my heart. Stop in the name of love before you break my heart. Think it over, baby, baby, think it over. I've known of your secluded nights. I've even seen her maybe once or twice. But it's her sweet expression worth more than I love and affection. This time before you leave my arms and rush off to her charms. Think it over. Haven't I been good to you? Think it over. Haven't I been sweet to you? Stop in the name of love before you break my heart. Stop in the name of love before you break my heart. Think it over, baby, baby, think it over. I tried so hard to be patient, hoping you'll stop this infatuation. But each time you are together, I'm so afraid of losing you forever. Stop in the name of love before you break my heart. Stop in the name of love before you break my heart. Baby, think it over. Stop in the name of love.
A little nostalgia for those that are old enough to remember, I guess. But another thing, the music today isn't like what it was back in the 60s. That was 1965, by the way. I put the picture of Mary Wilson in the corner there, so you can kind of see who it was. It wasn't Diana Ross that was in the middle. Mary Wells was off to the left, right, to the right. So she was to the right, and Mary Wilson was Mary Wells was to the left. But yeah, music today isn't like it was back then. You know, it was, and you could see that they were like in their natural voices. You didn't have all this special technology to harmonize your voice and all that. They just got out there and they just sung, and I miss that. You know, you're hard pressed to find people with that natural talent these days. They do exist. Don't get me wrong, but nonetheless, there are some mechanics behind that. So, anyways, I'm gonna jump to commercial break. I'll be right back. Stay tuned.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Put your hands together.
Damn!
Say it again.
Hey! What you doing back here? Mufasa!
Say it again. Feel right in his...
I've just discovered that I may have a son here in this land. How much child support is she getting from? The king pays no child support.
No child support for 30 years and you came back? You was a dummy!
Hello, I am Hakim Jaffer, king of Zamunda. You are the heir to the throne. Yes, my father.
He's supposed to be like the prince of Wakanda.
Wakanda is a fictional place.
Not to everybody.
Zamunda is a very real nation.
I don't need no handout.
Wait a minute.
All right, I'm gonna pack. Okay,
Presenting King Akim's son from America.
And my mom's.
And his mom's.
Children, this is your brother.
Hey, Quine. I'm sorry I slept with your man.
This happened before we even met.
It's not like you're the first man I've ever been with.
What did you just say about the other men?
Coming to America, now it's coming to me.
I always thought that Mika was going to be queen.
A woman isn't allowed to rule Zamunda. It's the law.
Did it ever occur to you that Mika wanted to be your heir?
Would you dare banish me from my own bedroom?
How you doing, King?
I'm getting it from everywhere. I have upset my family.
You must be strong.
And General Izzy would love nothing more than to take over Zamunda.
Raise it higher.
I'm a king,
Put your hands together.
I like that.
Say it again.
Give me all.
It's a party over here! I must admit, your style is foreign to my kingdom, but is impressive.
That's right. Ooh.
There you go.
Let me hear you say, hey, ho.
Hey, ho!
No, don't do that. That's his mother.
Oh, don't you say it.
No, not to his mother.
Almost ready to become a prince.
Almost. It is time.
Ceremonial circumcision.
Bring forward the royal machete.
Machete?
They're gonna sharpen your tool, nephew.
Coming to America, now it's coming to me. I'm a king, I'm a king, I'm a king.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
All right, hey, welcome back. So I got my banner fixed a little bit, but still a little off. That's okay. Anyways, so I can't wait to come into America. Comes out there in a few weeks actually. Yeah, I can't wait for that. I can't wait. It's like I said a couple weeks ago. It's been 30 years. Wow, man, time flies when you're having fun, I guess. But on Tuesday, I was a guest on another show, a friend of my show, who him and I served in the military together, and years back in Alaska, and he has a podcast, webcast, YouTube channel. It's called FML by the Atheist Veteran. I do encourage those who like to partake to subscribe and check out his channel. We had a good discussion. We had a good time. It was a few people, a few other panelists on there, And the premise of the show was to bring in a conservative, myself, to provide perspective from a different point of view in their day to day conversations. Now, prior to me coming onto the show, I actually had no clue what his show was about. His shows were about. I do know he is a liberal. His panelists were liberals, and from what I gathered from a recon of one of the shows, I was like, okay, they're gonna probably bash me or get into bashing a little bit, but it was all we had a great time. We actually had a very constructive, lively conversation about many subjects, ranging from QAnon, Trump, uh, conservatism in general, religion, general politics. We got into watching other YouTube channels that were kind of like out there, and we just kind of like just doing bantering commentary on that. But we had a good time. It was a show that, despite different political views, religious views, or whatever, that people can come together and have a good time and be civil, cordial, crack jokes, and everything else. And but as long as there is an understanding one is not trying to impose their views onto the other person, and we didn't have any of that. We had discussions, and I always say, going back to Stephen Covey's Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, seek first, one of the principles there, seek first to understand, then be understood. And so, in those conversations that we were having, I listened to their position, to their point of view, to their perspective, and everything. So we had, like I said, it was a cordial civil dialogue, and thoroughly enjoyed it. I look forward to coming back onto his show, and I'll probably invite him onto. Well, I will invite him onto mine. I just don't know when. So, but yeah. Anyways, Black History Month. So I kind of had a discussion the other day with some folks about Black History Month, and I don't want to beat a dead horse about my perspective, my views about Black History Month. Like I said last week, I don't feel as though February, I should relegate myself to celebrate Black History Month only in the month of February. I mean, I take a look at my banner on my Facebook page. I celebrate Black History whenever, it's like if something warrants a celebration, a post, a recognition, whatever, I do it, regardless of what month it is. If it's believe next month is Women's History Month, something to that effect, something like that. I'm not gonna wait until March to celebrate Women's History Month. It's just like if a woman did something great, I'm gonna say, hey, congratulations, celebrate them and move on. So I feel the same way about Black History Month, and it's not to denigrate or detract from the celebration of Black history itself. That's not my intent, and that's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is, we as African Americans, color people of color, blacks, whatever you want to call us. I'm trying to keep it up with the nomenclatures, but we as a community, we shouldn't have to look to February to 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 talk about this stuff. Now, in due prudence, I am going to display, give you a little bit of Black history today. For those that may not know, because I had another conversation yesterday helping a friend out who's getting ready to give a presentation on Black history to some college students. And I said, hey, why don't you talk about such and such? And I said the name, but I'm just going to leave it like that as a surprise. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of hard to squeeze that one in there, but I think I can. And so we discussed that. And I said, you know what? A lot of people don't know who he is and what he achieved and accomplished, and it's quite sad because he was a bad joker. Yeah, Robert Smalls, ladies and gentlemen, Robert Smalls. I'm not gonna about him. I'll let them. But outside of that, I had this same other conversation about Black history was around the origins of Black history. history. They said that I just laughed and I just stopped engaging in the conversation because it was on Facebook. I was just like, I can't. You can't sit here and not know the history of Black history of somebody else who says something in the negative. Conversation was stemming from the gubernatorial candidate. I talked about this last week, I believe. I think I did. I don't remember. But either way, it was a gubernatorial candidate who was who's running for governor, obviously, in Michigan against Gretchen, and he's from Nigeria. But he said that he ban or get rid of Black History Month and make it American History Month. So that's where our conversation got into about how he was shucking and driving and being a coon for white people and blah blah blah. That echo chamber of stuff. So, anyways, we were doing this discussion, and I said, well, I can understand how he feels, his position on it. You know, he's from Nigeria, so he doesn't really gather or grasp the full brunt, if you will, of the importance of Black history to African Americans who are born and raised here in America. So I get it, but you know, there are some other underlying things there going on too. So, anyways, then they proceeded to talk about how only reason why Douglas and Abraham Lincoln. I was like, what the? Black History Month was not to the device of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. This is what I'm talking about. You can't be in this community and not know the history of Black History Month. You just can't. No, it's the 21st century. Internet is at your fingertips. Well, that's what I was taught. I don't give a damn. No. You as a grown individual do not run around and say that created by Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln and it was only for a week. No. Yeah. But anyways, now that I put that seed out there, I hope people would go and do their due diligence. And I'm just going to give you another hint. Carter G. Woodson, okay? NAACP. All right. So anyways, all right, I'm going to shut up because we're running a long time here and I got a lot of stuff to talk about. By the way, this is my bad. This is Robert Smalls. For those that you don't know here, I'll blow it up, make it bigger. For those that don't know who he looks like or what he looks like, that's Robert Smalls. By the way, so all right, here's your short movie.
Robert Smalls was a 23-year-old slave pressed into service for the Confederacy aboard a warship called the Planter. For nearly a year, he quietly observed the movements of the ship and its crew. Just before dawn on May 13, 1862, Smalls took his chance. While the ship's officers slept ashore, he and his fellow slave crewmen pulled anchor and eased the Planter into Charleston Harbor.
They had prearranged to meet their family members and to pick them up and then come back down the peninsula, and they begin the process, and this is in the wee hours of the morning, of sailing out of the harbor. They are embarked now on an extremely dangerous journey.
Smalls knew these waters like the back of his hand, but he also knew the risk that lay ahead. 4 Confederate checkpoints: Castle Pinckney, Fort Ripley, Fort Johnson, and Fort Sumter.
Isn't Smalls afraid of being caught? How in the world is a black slave going to pull this off?
He's extremely afraid of being caught. He disguises himself as the captain, and also mimics the captain's gait as he walked back and forth across the wheelhouse.
Smalls slipped past the first 3 checkpoints undetected. The most dangerous checkpoint remained, Fort Sumter, with its mighty guns and fearsome cannons. Discovery would mean certain death. As dawn broke, the crew urged Smalls to take a wide berth, but changing course could arouse suspicion. Smalls gave the signal. A few seconds later, the counter signal came back. Pass on by. So they're safe, right? They're free?
Well, they're not completely free, because now we have the situation where a Confederate flagged vessel is sailing out and it begins to approach the vessels of the Union Naval Blockading Force.
Fortunately, the vessel was not fired on. As astonished Union officers boarded the planter, Smalls stood at attention, saluted, and spoke.
I am delivering this war material, including these cannons, and I think Uncle Abraham Lincoln can put them to good use.
Robert Smalls was a congressman who escaped slavery by posing as a captain on a Confederate supply ship during the Civil War. Smalls was born April 5, 1839 in Beaufort, South Carolina. His father, although officially unknown, was said to have been his plantation master, John K. McKee. This granted Smalls favoritism amongst the community. His mother Lydia didn't approve of his more privileged lifestyle, fearing that his complacency would blind him from the cruelty of slavery. It was with a heavy heart that she would force him to endure every aspect of slavery, even going as far as exposing him to the whippings of other slaves. His exposure to the horrors of slavery would fuel his rebellious nature. Several times, the plantation owner McKee would have to bail him out of the Beaufort jail due to his defiance. Lydia's plan of direct exposure had worked all too well, but she soon feared for her son's life and asked for him to be sent somewhere where he could build a life and not destroy it. At the age of 12, McKee sent Smalls away to Charleston to work as a shiprigger and a waiter. Unfortunately, Lydia, his mother, was sold while he was away, and he would never see her again. He worked several jobs in Charleston and was paid a pretty decent wage, but he was only allowed to keep $1 a week. That's right, $1 per week, which is about $28 today. The rest would be sent off to McKee. Smalls eventually got the opportunity to work on the Planter, a Confederate transport steamer. He fell in love with the idea of becoming a sailor, with the dream of one day sailing towards freedom. In 1858, Smalls met and married Hannah Jones, a slave girl who worked at the Charleston Hotel. They had 2 children together, but because of slave laws, they were unable to live with one another. They had to request permission from their masters, the McKees and the Kingmans. Permission was granted to them to live in a small apartment in Charleston, but they remained slaves. The Kingmans could take Hannah and his children in the blink of an eye for any reason. Smalls sought out their freedom, and the Kingmans agreed to sell his wife and his children to him for an insane price of $800, which is a little over $22,000 by today's standards. At the time, he only had $100 to his name, so he would have to find another way. In May of 1862, the opportune moment would finally present itself. At the dawn of the Civil War, the Planter, the ship that Smalls had worked on since his teenage years, was being used to transport guns, ammunition, and important documents to Confederates. His plan was to take the ship, pose as its captain, and sell his family and 12 other slaves away from Charleston and towards freedom. On the night of May 12th, the white officers decided to sleep in town. Smalls wasted no time preparing the ship for departure. This daring escape led through several Confederate checkpoints where he would have to give the right signal for each. If caught, he and the other passengers were willing to go down with the fight. The Yankee ship, the USS Onward, was the first to spot the Confederate ship and nearly fired at Smalls until they saw the waving of the white bedsheet, the signal for surrender. The planter and its contents were given to the Yankees, and Smalls, his family, and the other slaves were soon granted their freedom. In one fateful night, Smalls risked everything to free his family and the family of his crew. His endeavor was recognized by Abraham Lincoln, which became one of the many factors that encouraged him to authorize free blacks to serve in the military. Smalls would join the military himself, eventually becoming a Union Navy captain, conducting several missions near Charleston. He also had a stint in politics, getting elected in the South Carolina House of Representatives and serving as a congressman from 1868 to 1869. He returned to Beaufort and bought the very house in which he was a slave. He remained there until his death at the age of 75.
All right, so as you can see, it's challenging for me to talk to people in this modern day and age about the plights of being a black person. Knowing stories like Robert Smalls, Robert Brown Elliott, who's another one, and you have to go and get this book, read it from cover to cover. It is excellent, and it captures in detail, great detail, the lives of the 7 black during that they saw. But going back to what I was deal with or talk to people. Seriously, when folks like these gentlemen went through far worse. We use slavery for stuff that has nothing to do with slavery. But anyways, just help me, Jesus, help me, Jesus. Anyways, hey, I'll be right. Yeah, I will be right back. Stay tuned. Jump to commercial break.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com. You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Hey, welcome back. So, my grandson's awake, and he's screaming his head off in the next room. But anyways, I I made a post this morning, just a little while ago actually, about why is it that we're in this thing of, how do you know what to call it? This the strangeness of comparing what's going on in society today, politically, socially, whatever else. Why are we so hung up on comparing this to Nazi Germany? Like, what the? Is that all we know? I mean, like seriously, like I'm not being funny. I'm not trying to be facetious or anything. But I'm serious. Like, is that all we know? Like, throughout the course of humankind history, is that the only point of reference of, I guess you could say, turmoil, social turmoil that we know of? I mean, there was, let's see, Leopold III. There's King Louis XVI of France. There's King George III of Britain. Uh, Mao Zedong, China. Stalin, Russia. Uh, Mussolini, Italy. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Nicolas Maduro currently in Venezuela. I mean, folks, like, damn, like, pick some other countries. Let's, if we're gonna have the conversation, if we're gonna like try to draw comparisons and contrast, make it interesting. Don't point to something that people. First off, there's really no comparison to what's going on today. To, I ain't gonna say no comparison, but it was far worse during Nazi Germany than what we're seeing today. Today we're just seeing like little things and we're just like, oh my god. But there were, I mean, like, damn. Change the conversation. That's what I'm getting at. Anyways, so going back to the understanding of history and what we deal with. Martin Luther King said it best. He said a lot of things best, actually. But Martin Luther King, he pointed to the time of where, we will come together in society through multiple cultures, ethnicities, and everything else, and we will be doing day to day things, together, collectively, whatever. And but yet and still, Booker T. Washington alluded to, or he actually pointed out that we're always going to have a class of people that are going to be basically, in other words, race hustlers who will look to perpetuate the ills and the woes of social society social justice warriors, and they perpetuate these things and keep it out front and keep it in the media and everything else to showcase that there are trials and tribulations that are still going on that keep us divided. But in all reality of things, I'm out and about almost every day, and I deal with people from all walks of life, and I'm sure you do too. And you're almost hard pressed to find the things that we perpetually see in the media that gives you the impression that, oh my god, if I go outside the door today, I'm gonna be like gunned down because I'm black. Your heart, you're literally getting, it's becoming so. I put it like this: racism. Not saying they don't exist, folks, but racism, um, white supremacy, all that jazz. It's becoming so rare and so like non-prevalent that we are getting to the point of where we have to manufacture it, make it up, create it to keep that story alive. And it's like crazy to see, like what are we doing, folks? Like, if it's done and over with, it's done and over with. Let the horse die. Okay, if he's not running that track anymore, let it die. Okay, like, damn. But anyways, Martin Luther King Jr. Uh, his "I Have a Dream" speech. It's one of the speeches that continues to resonate with us to this very day, and it was given, 60, 70 years ago now. No, 60 years ago. If my math is right. A little bit over 60 years ago. Anyways, long time ago. So it's a speech that still resonates with us today. And I'm going to play that for you right now.
I have the pleasure to present to you Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Five score years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted. And every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, my country, tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and when we capitalize, when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Powerful. As always, nothing's changed over the years. Folks, there's nothing else to talk about. You can pick up my book, The New You Now Equipped with Wisdom, on Amazon, e-Kindle format. You can follow me on Twitter at rperm. You can, I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, MeWe. What else? Gab. BitChute, Rumble, the whole shebang. Pretty much on any platform you find out there, you can just type in my name and I'm sure I'll pop up. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in. Also, if you want to be a contributor to the show, you can Cashapp me at $RPerm4US or PayPal RPerm4US. If you want to advertise on the show, you can hit me up at rperm@gmail.com. That is rperm@gmail.com. You can also shoot me an email if you want to like to be a guest on the show. We can talk about whatever you like. Ball's in your court. Yes. So be safe this weekend. This is also President's Day weekend, so it's a 4-day weekend for most people and everything else. I'm retired, so 4 days for me is every day. Throwing a little shade out there for you folks that still work. But anyways, no, seriously, take care. God bless you all. Be safe, and we will see you all Monday, I think. Yeah. Should be back on Monday. Yep. Have a good one.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.